Hi, I'm Tuulia of Honesty Europe, and I'm answering questions that I have received recently. And one question that I think is really important is about what's the difference between verbal and physical violence, and mainly wanted to understand what is verbal/emotional violence. Uh, yeah, I feel a bit of a heaviness in my body talking about this. And I think it's such a vital topic. Like, where is the balance between just fighting and getting a bit overboard and maybe a bit nasty and angry, or very nasty and very angry, versus like abuse, ongoing blame, putting down, and how to find that balance. So physical violence is violence where there's actually physical act, like pushing, slapping, hitting, spitting, so anything that is touching the other person physically. And verbal violence, it's of course a bit more difficult to like figure out what is really violence and what is just normal fighting. I think the one big difference is that if you feel ongoingly unsafe in a fighting situation, you don't feel safe expressing your opinions, you don't feel safe staying in the situation, you don't feel safe leaving, so you're worried about either your physical well-being or your mental well-being in those fighting situations, and you kind of limit yourself as an ongoing or regular thing. And how does verbal violence show up? It can be ongoing use of like nasty language, ongoing blame, put down, like you never understand anything, it's always your fault, that kind of like global statements rather than staying specific about what went on. Other things, verbal emotional violence, are like isolating you from others, so somehow ongoingly making it difficult for you to meet friends, family members, other people. Also, strong extreme jealousy can show up as a verbal emotional violence, like blaming the other one for things they didn't do, controlling them. So all kinds of forms of control ongoingly can be signs of emotional violence. In general, things that repeat themselves and are kind of manipulative in nature, and the other one can manipulate you, whether it's conscious or subconscious. So I'm not claiming that people who are being verbally or emotionally violent do that necessarily as a planned thing or as a conscious act. It's rather, I believe, an act of a desperation act of them not knowing better, and still it's not acceptable, and you and all of us have a right to leave a situation and a relationship where we ongoingly don't feel safe and feel worried about expressing ourselves and living a normal life, having other people in our lives, and having a feeling that what we do is all right and that we are not ongoingly wrong, and what we do and say causes the suffering or the behavior of others. One thing that also can be emotional violence is threatening with suicide. So the partner ongoingly says, if you do this, if you do that, I'm gonna kill myself. And that can be kind of a blackmailing kind of a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna end my life. And while that is tragic, still kind of threatening, manipulating the other one into staying or doing something they don't want to do with the threat of a suicide is not the way to go. Luckily, there is a lot of support. I mean, depending on a country, but there is helplines for people who are victims of violence. So if you assume or have a feeling that there might be emotional violence or there has been physical violence, there is a lot of helplines. And also there's help for people who are violent physically or mentally or sexually. So there are these options for you to get help wherever, either way you are. Yeah, let me know if you have more questions. And yeah, this is a vital topic now in the current times when many of us are spending more and more time at home, and there is far less ability and freedom to move and do stuff. All right, this is Tuulia of Honesty Europe. Ciao.